Tonight's lesson is on the distributive property. Our learning goal for tonight's lesson is that we will be able to simplify expressions by using the distributive property. The words to know for today's lesson is algebraic expression, variable, simplify, combine like terms, and distributive property. And I found this joke online and I thought you might like it as well. It says, how can we never complicate equations? Because we're always working on simplifying equations. So I just thought it'd be funny to start with that joke. So let's get started. Why does the distributive property work? Well, if we look at these two problems, based on our learning of order of operations, we know we have to complete what is in the parentheses first. So 5 plus 4 gives me 9. So then I would have 2, parentheses 9. And like in our last video, we talked about a number with a number in parentheses means to multiply. So 2 times 9 is 18. So my question is, what would happen if I multiplied the 2 times the 5 and the 2 times the 4? Since the 2 means to multiply, and it wants to multiply everything inside the parentheses. So let's see if it would work if I rewrote this as 2 times 5 plus 2 times 4. So 2 times 5 gives me 10. And then 2 times 4 gives me 8. And then if I do 10 plus 8, I get 18. It gives me the same answer. They both were 18. Now let's look at this bottom one to see if the same thing happens. So order of operations, I do the parentheses first. So 3 plus 1 gives me 4. Then 6 times 4 gives me 24. Now let's see what would happen if I break apart the problem and I do 6 times 3 plus 6 times 1. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 1 is 6. 18 plus 6 gives me 24. So this is the basic idea of the distributive property. It says that I can take what's in a parentheses and multiply each individual term. And remember, a term is just each section of an expression, and be able to still get to the same answer, whether I did order of operations or if I distribute. Think of the word distributing as you are giving to each. So when I distribute this 2 on the first one, I distributed it to the 5 and to the 4 because both of those are in parentheses. And we'll talk more about this in the next few slides. When learning new concept, I like to start with visuals. And let's go back to the McDonald's idea that we talked about in the first video. But the difference this time is we have 2 orders of 3 French fries. Remember, we talked about how we can combine that to say 3F. And then we also have 2 burgers. But I need 2 orders of that. So if we think of it as multiplication, that I want 2 times, and once again we're going to put this in parentheses because that means to multiply, and we want to multiply both of them. That's why they are in parentheses. 2 times 3F plus 2B. Or you can also think of it as, well, I could write this same order twice, which is the same thing as multiplying, because multiplying is just repeated addition. So if we're thinking about that, we have 2 times 3 over here, which is 6F. And if I look over here, I have 3F and 3F, which is also 6F. And then 2 times 2, which is 4B. And then if I look here, I have 2B and another 2B, which would be 4B. So whether you write it as repetitive addition or multiplication, it'll still give you the same answer. Now pause the video and try the next problem on your own and then unpause it. Welcome back. Let's look at the next problem. So this time they have 4 orders and this of the same thing. So we still have 3 French fries plus 2 burgers. But this time I have 4 orders. So I would write this 4 times 3F plus 2B. So that means I need 4 times 3 French fries, which would make 12 French fries. 4 times 3. And then I also have to do 4 times 2 because I need that many burgers. So 4 times 2 is 8. So this problem would be 12F plus 8B. And this time it would be faster to just multiply than to actually write the addition. Let's look at another way we can model this. The area model is a great way to represent distributive property. So if I'm looking here, they're telling me this side is x plus 1, and this side is worth 5. So for the x plus 1, I'm going to write it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I can complete my combining like terms. And always make sure you are looking inside. So we're looking at this section. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's. And then I can look over here at how many ones I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So plus 5. So once again, I can rewrite this as 5 times x plus 1, which is equal to 5x plus 5. Okay, let's create some models on our own this time, based on the example we saw before. So over here on this side is what am I multiplying by? I'm multiplying by 3, so I need 3 boxes. 1, 2, 3. And then up here I have an x, but then I also have 2 boxes. So I need to represent this 3 times is what this is telling me. So I have an x, and I have these 2 ones. Then I have another x, and I have these 2 ones. And then I have a third x, and these 2 ones. So then looking at the pink, if I look at how did I distribute that, I have 3 x's plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And once again, if you look over here, we have 3 times x, which would be 3x, and 3 times 2, which would be 6. Okay, pause the video and try the next one on your own. Welcome back. So we should have started by placing the 4, because that's what we're multiplying by. So we need 4 boxes over here. 2, 3. Well, actually, I should have wrote the numbers 1 all the way down. So these are all 1s. Okay, and then this time though we have 2 x's. So here's an x and here's another x, but we only have 1, 1. So then I'm going to redraw this every time. So x, x, and actually I'm going to switch colors so I know what's the inside. So x, x, 1. X, x, and a 1. And x, x, and a 1, and x, x, and a 1. So then if I'm looking at the inside of my purple, I see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 x's. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 1s. So I have a total of 8x plus 4. Okay, now let's just look at how to solve them just mathematically without creating an actual model. So remember the parentheses mean to multiply. So this first one I have 4 times 1, because we're going to go to each thing in the parentheses. So 4 times 1 gives me 4. And then 4 times 9x, which 4 times 9 is 36, and you just bring the x along. And you cannot simplify this any further because these are not like terms. So the next problem, you have 3 times 2, which is 6x, and 3 times 5, which is 15. Remember, we go to everything in the parentheses because it's multiplying everything in the parentheses. So this next problem, we have 2 times 8x, which is 16x. But then we have 2 times a minus 4. So 2 times a minus 4 is just going to be 2 times 4, but you're just going to put a minus sign. So that'd be 16x minus 8. Then the last one, you have 6 times 2x, which is 12x. And then, we have another variable. So just do 6 times 4y, which is 24y. And then the last one is 6 times 7, which is... So then you have 6 times 7, which is 42. Pause the video and try these 4 on your own, and then come back and check your answers. I hope your hard work is showing off and that you got all of these answers correct. If not, put a question mark beside them and ask during class tomorrow about the question that you may have of a problem you got a different answer to. You made it to the finish line. Here's your to-do list before class tomorrow. Complete your notes, write down any questions that you have, and be ready to discuss. There's a few extra problems on the next slide that are optional for extra practice. I'm not going to work these out on the video, but if you have any questions, please feel free to bring them to class tomorrow.